If you're a retiree or someone nearing retirement who's frustrated with New Year's resolutions that just don't stick, like saving more, spending less, finally creating that retirement plan you've been thinking about, this episode is for you. Did you know that 91% of resolutions fail by February? But when it comes to financial goals, failure just isn't disappointing. It's downright dangerous. Don't worry, we're here to help. Today on Retirement Rescue Weekly, we'll explore why resolutions fail, how it impacts your retirement, and most importantly, how to break the cycle and set goals that actually work. Welcome to Retirement Rescue Weekly, where we throw a lifeline to your financial future. This podcast is dedicated to helping rescue retirees from potential dangers that appear in retirement. I'm Kurt Arnold, your host and financial advocate. I'll guide you through the stormy seas of retirement. We'll tackle inflation, taxation, market volatility, and healthcare costs. Together, we'll secure your retirement. Tune in and start your rescue mission today. Well, hello, everyone. This is Kurt Arnold here, host and financial advocate for Retirement Rescue Weekly. If you're new to the show, each week I teach on different financial topics that cause issues, cause concern, and can wreck your retirement. I want to help rescue you from these pitfalls and dangers, so thanks for joining us. If you're tired of setting the same goals year after year with no real progress, you're not alone. This week on Retirement Rescue Weekly, we're diving into why most New Year's resolutions fail and how to avoid letting that impact your retirement. We're going to break down psychology behind resolutions, how they relate to your financial future, and share some practical steps to make 2025 a year you can take control of your retirement plan. So let's get started. So as always, I like to begin the show with a quote. Joy Adams, comedian and actress, says, "May all your troubles last as long as your New Year's resolutions." I think we can understand that one. So a common resolution that we always see every year is around health. I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start losing weight. I'm going to eat better, right? You probably heard those. Those have probably been your resolutions at some point in time. So let's take a look at this.
All right, guys, calm down, please. One resolution at a time.
Go, come on, bro. Come on, two more, 5 more. Let's go. Push it up. That's it. Push it. Ooh, feel the squeeze, feel the burn.
Bro, you can literally do that anywhere. Do you have to use the bench?
I thought this was what it was meant for.
This year's different, you know. When I mean like I'm coming with some strength.
How many sets you got left on this?
One more set. Yo, babe, one more set, babes. Hold on.
Okay, baby. Oh, maybe lower the weight next time.
Hey, babe, don't listen to him, man.
Am I glad that's over?
Yeah, I know, man. What is it, January the 4th?
That's a new record, isn't it?
Well, you'll have a few people in it before summer.
It's a little while till then, though.
We've all been there, setting big, ambitious New Year's goals, only to fall off track within weeks. Maybe you plan to save more, pay off debt, or finally schedule a meeting to build that retirement plan. But life gets busy, habits are hard to change, and settling those goals feel impossible. Sound familiar? Well, here's the thing. When it comes to financial goals, failure to follow through doesn't just hurt in the short term. It can derail your long-term retirement success. Ignoring a resolution to save more or cut spending might mean you're not prepared for market downturns, inflation, or unexpected expenses. And if you've been putting off creating a retirement income plan, you're risking running out of money or tipping too much to Uncle Sam in taxes. So to further understand why so many New Year's resolutions don't stick, let's take a look at this explanation.
Most New Year's resolutions fail. Research has shown it is more effective to make resolutions at New Year's than at any other time of the year. In fact, one study found that people who made resolutions on January 1st were 10 times as likely to stick with them 6 months later than people who made their resolutions at other times of the year. But now, the bad news. Even a resolution made at New Year's will most likely fail, which is why gyms are packed in January, but they start to clear out by March. Well, research has found that only around 8% of people can stick with their resolutions through the end of the year. So why is this? And how do we avoid that trap? I think it all starts with a misconception. So I think the misconception is that people think that in order to make big changes in their lives, that they have to make some sort of really big effort. I mean, let's say your goal was to run a marathon. You might plan on running 10 kilometers 3 times a week. That seems kind of proportionate to the end goal, and you might be excited and really motivated to do it for the first few weeks. But at some point, that motivation is going to lag, and running 10K is going to seem too hard, and so you're going to sort of fall back into old habits. The misconception is thinking you need to go big, and so being overambitious with your goals and then not being able to commit and stick to them.
So let's start with the big question. Why do 91% of resolutions fail? They're too vague. Save more money, eat healthier are great ideas. Without a clear plan, they're just wishes, unrealistic expectations. If you set a goal to max out your IRA when you're barely covering bills, you'll feel defeated fast. Lack of accountability. Without a plan or a partner to keep you on track, it's easy to lose motivation.
It's almost time to set your New Year resolutions, but keeping those resolutions is much more challenging. Polls from Pew Research show only 59% of participants say they actually do keep their resolutions. ABC's Christian Cordero has some tips on how to make sure your resolution becomes a reality.
As we turn the page on 2024, now is the time to set those New Year's resolutions for 2025.
So everyone's kind of thinking about what they really want the future to look like for themselves, and that's kind of a lofty process.
Neurologist Dr. Leah Kroll says people often set too many goals or goals that are too vague.
Set yourself up for success by focusing on just one or two goals that are really important to you for this year and getting very specific about it.
For example, I want to get in shape this year may sound great, but it's not really actionable.
Whereas if you say, I want to train for a 5K, you know exactly what you have to do.
Next, Dr. Kroll says to craft a plan for yourself.
Most goals are going to take multiple steps to achieve. So really mapping out for yourself, what is each step that I need to take over the course of the year to get where I want to get in the end?
So if your resolution is to eat more vegetables,
well, you've got to go to the grocery store. You've got to pick up your broccoli. You've got to look up a recipe. You've got to cook the broccoli.
And it's more than just a blueprint of what you have to do.
There's also something very gratifying on a chemical level in the brain about sort of checking things off your list and feeling like you're already making progress towards your goal.
Sharing your goal with the people in your life can help keep you accountable. And getting together with friends to make vision boards can help give you direction.
The process of going through and making a vision board is so helpful when it comes to really focusing on what your goals are. What do I want that end goal to really look like for me? What do I want my life to look like 1 year from now?
Dr. Kroll says there will be bumps in the road. And remember, we're human.
So there's absolutely no such thing as somebody who sets out to achieve every goal they've ever had and has carried out every step without any flaws. That just doesn't happen. It's not reality.
Don't beat yourself up about it or get upset. Continue moving forward to achieve your goal.
Now let's connect this to retirement planning. If you're not specific, realistic, and consistent with financial goals, you'll risk falling behind, whether it's saving, investing, or preparing for taxes. Here's where it gets serious. Those failed resolutions create ripple effects on your financial future. Missed opportunities, skipping contributions to your retirement accounts can cost you tens of thousands of dollars in compounded growth, increased stress. Financial procrastination leads to anxiety, especially when unexpected expenses and market volatility hit. Delayed tax strategies. If you don't act on tax planning goals when you have the opportunity, like Roth conversions, you might end up paying more in taxes than necessary. Understanding the impact of failed resolutions on your retirement is crucial. Here's a perspective for how you should rethink your approach to goal setting in retirement.
As far as New Year's resolutions go, on New Year's Eve, I get together with all of my family members and we go around the table and we get each person's New Year's resolution and we write it down. And then the next year at the same time, we see how did each of the members do relative to those New Year's resolutions. And that is an interesting experience. I must say, we don't do nearly as good as we hoped that we would do. And so we reflect on those things, and that pausing and reflecting and saying, what is it that we want to aspire to? And then the grading of ourselves and thinking about that and reflecting is a good experience. And it's also like a fun little game as we do it on New Year's Eve.
Let's take a look at some case studies. Bob and Linda. Now, each year they would say, hey, this is the year we're going to finally save more and cut spending and get serious about retirement. But you know what happened every January? Life got in the way and they really didn't get to it. And by the time they hit their mid-60s, they realized they had not saved enough for their retirement. And inflation, that thing we've been talking about recently, was eating away at their nest egg, and their monthly goals were being very difficult for them to meet. And it was causing a lot of stress. Let's look at Chuck and Cindy. Now, Chuck and Cindy, when I met them, Chuck said, "Hey, I'm good. I got $1 million in my IRA. I'm good." The problem is he didn't realize Uncle Sam was involved. See, this was all tax deferred dollars here, so it hadn't been taxed yet. And really, he didn't have $1 million. He really had closer to $650,000. And he wasn't aware of the RMDs and what that impact would have on him later on. Those required minimum distributions that have to come out no matter what. And he didn't realize how much was going to go away to taxes. And he didn't realize the impact and the havoc those RMDs could cause on Social Security getting taxed and Medicare premiums going up. So he didn't realize all the impact that those taxes could have on him. And he didn't take advantage of those years leading up from his retirement date until those RMDs to do proactive tax planning. So let's take a look at now resolutions and how we can turn those into real results.
The truth is, you're much better off if you pick small targets that you can hit consistently. That's the idea behind James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, which is this idea that if you can get just 1% better every day at something, it will take a minimum amount of effort, but over time, the effects will compound, just like compound interest. And James Clear proposes the 2-minute rule. Pick something that you can do in just 2 minutes. So if you want to run a marathon, start by, say, running 2 minutes a day. That is something that you can't say you don't have time for. And once that habit sticks, well, then you can try to extend it into something more ambitious. The next problem with resolutions is they are too often vague. The most common resolutions that people make are to lose weight, exercise more, and to eat better. The problem is those things are so nondescript that it's hard to know if you're making progress, and it's really easy to regress into your old habits. So the science around this says you need to be specific and write down your goals. People who write down their goals are 40% more likely to achieve them. That is pretty significant just by taking that step of putting pen to paper. So the third major problem with New Year's resolutions is that people seem to think it's about having more willpower or motivation, being able to resist temptation better. But willpower is a finite resource, and it can be depleted. There are going to be some bad days, and that is when you're going to relapse. So relying on willpower is not an effective strategy. And research has shown that people who have better self-control actually just have to exercise it less. And the way they're able to do that is by structuring their environments so they don't have to exercise their willpower. So we need a way of changing our environments so that we make better choices.
So let's turn resolutions into results. Number 1, set SMART goals. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Instead of saying save more, set a goal like, I want to save $6,000 into my Roth IRA by contributing $500 per month. To understand more about SMART goals is crucial for turning resolutions into reality. Here's a brief overview of how to properly set up a goal using the SMART method.
S stands for specific. We all have plenty of dreams and goals, but most of them are all generalized and vague, so we don't really know how to achieve them. Your goal must be clear and well defined. You can only get to where you want by defining precisely how you will get there. For example, let's take a look at this generalized wish. I want to be healthier, or I want to have a better body. What does all of this even mean? It's super vague and not specific enough. A better example would be, I'll replace drinking soda with water. I'll also be going to the gym 3 times a week for 45 minutes. You could be even more specific. 3 times per week could mean every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every time at 3 p.m. Make it as specific as possible so you know what exactly you're going to be focusing on. M stands for measurable. Tracking the progress of your goal is an important part of keeping you motivated. It allows you to set milestones that you can celebrate when you achieve them and reevaluate when you don't. If your goal is simply defined as lose weight, How will you know when you have been successful? You need to define exactly how much weight you want to lose. A much better goal would be, I want to lose 10 pounds. This way you have something to aim for and you can even set smaller milestones along the way. Basically, you break that big objective into other smaller objectives. So if you think that 10 pounds is too much, you should break it down into manageable pieces. First aim for 3 pounds, then another 3, all the way up to 10. It's the progress that keeps us motivated, so if you don't have a way to measure it, you will fail with your ambition. A stands for attainable. Make sure that it's possible to achieve the dreams you set for yourself. Far too many people fall into the trap of setting impossible goals. While they may push you forward for a while, you will almost certainly end up giving up on them. Instead of being impossible, your goals should be challenging, yet achievable. There's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars, as you might end up at the moon. However, unless you want to burn out, it's much more efficient to take small steps. For example, making $1 million by the end of the month is impossible if you can't even pay your bills. A much more attainable goal would be making extra $100 by the end of the month. Once you have achieved that, you can go a step further and try making extra $200. You don't want to set yourself up for failure by trying to go far beyond the bounds of possibility. It will only make you miserable. R stands for relevant. Your plans should be relevant to the direction you want your life and career to take. A common issue we face is having too many goals at the same time, or pursuing the wrong goals. Unless your plan is relevant to your overall life plan, achieving it may not accomplish anything. So if you look at my example, I wanted to learn French because I loved the way it sounded. However, I realized that learning the language would be completely useless for me. I barely know anyone that speaks French and I don't really need to use it anywhere. So I stopped learning it as it was taking too much of my time while I was getting nothing out of it. Becoming fluent in French would be nice, but it is currently not relevant to my overall life plan. So ask yourself why you want to achieve your goal before you commit to it. T stands for time-bound. This is one of the most important factors. Your plans must have a deadline. If you don't set a time limit, you have basically unlimited time to achieve your goals. When you are working on a deadline, your sense of urgency increases and you're more likely to achieve your goal. Think of your time in school. You had a whole month to write an essay, and yet it was done in the last 2 days. It's because the deadline was right around the corner, so you had no choice but to do it. So whenever you set a goal, keep a time limit in mind as it will push you to actually work on it.
So number 2, automate your goals. Take the emotion out of saving. Set up automatic contributions. Sometimes when you're still working, those 401k plans are really nice because it just automatically does it every month. So we don't have to remember, I got to go put money into this account. Build accountability. Work with a fiduciary planner who can help you monitor and track goals. That's what I do. I set up a financial plan so we know here's the roadmap that we have to be on. And then we break it down into what can we do right now to work towards those goals. Number 4, celebrate those small wins. Break those big goals into smaller milestones. And if you hit that, like start with a quarterly target. And then if you hit that, reward yourself. That'll build confidence and it'll help you keep going and building that momentum. And number 5, keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate. Start with like one financial resolution, one goal, nail that goal, and then build out from there. Oftentimes I see when someone meets with an advisor, they'll say, here's the 10 things you got to do. And the likelihood of all those things happening and you actually doing them is very low because you're going to be overwhelmed and you're going to be like, I can't do all this. And it feels like it's not even worth it. I don't know what to do. So start with one and then really work hard towards that and then continue forward after you hit that. So setting effective goals is going to be the key for your financial success. So let's watch this short video now on mastering financial goals in retirement.
Is it really that big of a deal that we should always be working towards a financial goal? I'm going to say, in my opinion, yes. I think that there is so much power in working towards something. So money aside, just the integrity and the strength of character that you build when you push yourself and lean into discomfort is priceless. And from a financial standpoint, there is so much data out there that proves being intentional with your money, no matter what level you're on financially, is the secret to gaining momentum in your wealth building journey. So again, you guys, being intentional with your money, it is so, so key. Now, there will be seasons that you're more intense, some seasons not, but always having that forward progress, I think, is so important.
So once we kind of figure out the goals, it's time to take action. And it's important that we actually do start taking action as soon as we can, so these goals don't seem so distant. So here's your roadmap for making 2025 the year for achieving your retirement goals. Number one, you need to audit your current situation. Take stock of your savings, spending, investments. Knowing where you stand is step number one. It's kind of like the GPS analogy I've used before, where we talked about the retirement roadmap. First thing the GPS does is tell you where you are, and then it starts telling you how to get to where you're going. So you got to know where you are first. Prioritize high impact goals. Focus on actions that will have the biggest impact for your retirement security, like maxing out retirement accounts or creating a tax strategy. And then create a financial plan. Now, with a financial plan, remember, there's 5 key parts. You got to have the income plan, the investment plan, the tax plan, the medical plan, and the estate plan. If we're missing any of those, if they're not working together and not connected, some things aren't going to work then. So you got to make sure you have all those pieces. Develop that retirement living plan. Remember those 4 stages of retirement we talked about, understanding that as we age, we'll have more medical issues, and understanding that we need to know what Medicare is, long-term care, estate planning, things like that. Make sure that we have a plan for those different stages as we age, and also making sure we have those legacy goals set up as well. Leverage tools to help with goals. You know, we're going to have a resource at the end here that you can download as a checklist. You know, make sure that there's other calculators and goal setting things you can do to kind of figure out what's some things that you need to be thinking about right now. So you can make sure you can think about what you need to be mapping out each year. And it's really important that you do some goal setting. I know sometimes when I sit down with someone and say, hey, what does retirement look like? What do you want to do? And oftentimes they go, you know, we haven't thought about it yet. Or sometimes the husband and wife aren't on the same page. So make sure you're using some of those tools to help you get started in, you know, at least brainstorming. Get professional guidance. Schedule a call with me. We'll talk about that at the end here. But talking to somebody that can help you get to understand what those goals are, and then how we break those goals down into actionable steps is really important, because otherwise, you know, we're kind of spinning our wheels. So we got to make sure that we have, you know, those things kind of mapped out and knowing what we got to do each year to work on those things. So again, you got to take action. These goals on paper or these goals in your head are nothing unless we, you know, put it on paper and put actionable steps towards them. So, you know, one of the things we always talk about is how do we help you above and beyond the show? You know, we're here to educate, but then we want you to make sure you have some things that you can do and take that knowledge you just got from listening to the show and help apply it to your life. So we have a retirement goal tracker we're offering as a free downloadable resource. It's a guide to help you with those smart goal setting. There's a link in the show notes right now for you to get that resource. You know, go through that, you know, put that in practice and see, you know, what are some things you need to be thinking about. And we talked about it before with different ages as those key birthdays. What are some of those things that you got to be thinking about as you hit different milestones as well? So make sure you're thinking about those. If you're saving for retirement, are you on track or are we behind? If we're behind, what can we do to get on track?